Hello, everyone. I'm Benjamin Zhou from the Internet Society Hong Kong chapter. Today, I'm going to talk about the governance of open data and the broader concept, data governance, and introduce a few frameworks established by the International Standard Setting Initiatives. Last year, the Internet Society Hong Kong chapter launched the Hong Kong Open Data Index, an assessment tool to measure the openness of public data in the city we live in. For example, we want to know, are these data sets machine readable? Are they released with a proper metadata scheme and open license? You probably have heard some of these terms. If you want to know more about these standards and our assessment results, please visit our website, opendata.iso.hk. Machine readability is definitely important in this big data era. But beyond these technicalities, some other questions are emerging in recent years. What data should be open or should not? How to coordinate data standards between sectors and industries? And how to ensure our privacy is protected while the data of public interest is always protected, is always published at the finest granularity. In short, people are concerned about how open data is governed. Open data governance, or broadly, data governance, is intensely debated across the globe now. The question of open data is getting bigger than open data itself, because ultimately we believe that data should be created, shared, and used for the public good. Some organizations took the initiative to develop new benchmarks to address the bigger question. An early example is the Open Data Barometer, a global rankings project initiated by the World Wide Web Foundation since 2013. In addition to the dataset assessment, the barometer looks into a country's data readiness, which includes government policies, action, and the country's business sector and civil society, as well as the impact of open data on political, economic, and social affairs. Another initiative is the Our Data Index, developed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. Our data stands for open, useful, and reusable data, including three pillars: data availability, data accessibility, and government support for data reuse. It's a more complex benchmarking system with its first results launched in 2018, which also brought in new advocacies such as government data literacy programs. A most recent progress is the evolution of these data policy benchmarks is the Global Data Barometer formed in 2020, which is last year. Its methodology was developed on the foundation of Open Data Barometer, but it addresses a broader scope of issues than open data to cover data governance, data capabilities, data availability, and data use and impact. These standard setting initiatives reflect the increasing importance of data nowadays, as well as concerns from different stakeholders when they are faced with demands for public data, inconsistent data standards, personal data abuses, etc. The good news is that governments have taken actions in response to these concerns and to seize new opportunities too. In the past, policy agendas such as open data, digital transformation, or e-government policies and privacy legislations are sitting in each of these silos. Now, a new wave of reforms are on the way, exploring a holistic approach to address complex policy questions. For example, the United Kingdom completed the public consultation on the National Data Strategy just a few months ago. The four pillars of the strategy actually look quite similar to the benchmark and mentioned just now. You can see data foundations, data skills, data availability, and responsible data. Some other policy measures are intriguing too. For example, they have established an data standards authority since April 2022 to ensure the data is reusable and interoperable across governments, and they will recruit a chief data officer for the British government. Almost at the same time in China, December 2020, the legislative body of Shenzhen conducted its first deliberation of the Shenzhen Special Economic Zone Provisional Data Regulations. After the public consultation in July, it is viewed as the first foundational comprehensive legislation in the data sphere in China to regulate, including personal data protection, public data management, sharing, publication, and utilization, and the exchange of data between business entities. Also in 2020, Guizhou province passed China's first open data legislation at provincial level in September. Some other provinces in China are making progresses too. We don't have time to go through each of these recent initiatives, policies, and legislation. But the message here is clear. Governing data requires high-level design and planning to break the silos of government agencies, policies, agendas, legislations, sectors, industries at all levels. In this regard, when we look at the governance of open data again, a holistic approach should be adopted. This open data governance schema was developed in a workshop before the International Open Data Conference in 2018 in Argentina. It brought together open data professionals, civil servants, and researchers and defined open data governance as the interplay of rules, standards, tools, principles, processes, and decisions that influence what government data is opened up, how and why, by whom. It's still an it's still an unfinished work till now, but it provides a framework for us to think about the current challenges and what to do next. That's all of my sharing today. Thank you for listening and hope we will keep in touch and continue the work to push forward open data. Goodbye.